You are watching a woman dance in the street, alone with no music playing, and she has not stopped for 6 days. By the end of the summer, 400 people in her city will be doing exactly the same thing. Some of them will not survive it. Her name was Frau Troffea, and on a July afternoon in 1518 in the city of Strasbourg, she stepped outside her home and began to dance. Nobody had asked her to. There was no music. She just started and kept going, hour after hour, until she collapsed from exhaustion, and when she woke up, she started again. Her neighbors watched for days before anyone did anything. Strasbourg in 1518 was 2 years into a run of failed harvests, and syphilis and smallpox were tearing through the population, so a woman going strange in the street was almost background noise. But she didn't stop, and stranger still, she wasn't alone for long. Within a week, more than 30 other people had joined her, not watching, dancing. By August, chroniclers counted as many as 400 people moving through the streets of Strasbourg, dancing without rest, without music, and, as far as anyone could tell, without wanting to. This wasn't performance. People danced until their feet bled through their shoes. They danced through fevers. Some of them, according to the accounts, danced until their hearts simply gave out. Reports from the time put the toll at as many as 15 deaths a day at the outbreak's peak. The city's physicians took it seriously, and they tried to explain it the only way medicine in 1518 knew how: too much hot blood. The prescribed treatment was more of the exact thing that was killing people. Dance it out of your system. So the city built a stage. They cleared out 2 guild halls and a grain market, hired musicians, and paid healthy men to dance alongside the afflicted, the idea being that if everyone danced hard enough together, the fever would burn through and break. It did the opposite. The stage didn't cure anyone. It advertised. Passers-by saw a crowd moving to real music in a real venue and joined in out of curiosity or fear, or the same nameless compulsion that started it, and the epidemic that had been building for a month got bigger, faster. In the 1 week the city spent actively encouraging it. Strasbourg's authorities figured out their mistake and reversed it completely. They banned public music, they banned dancing outright, and they took the people still afflicted somewhere else entirely, a shrine outside the city dedicated to Saint Vitus, a saint already associated in local belief with a nervous affliction that made people twitch and convulse. There, the dancers were walked through a ritual: red shoes, holy water, a small wooden cross pressed into each hand, and it worked. Within weeks, the plague that 400 people and 2 guild halls full of musicians couldn't touch quietly wound down at a roadside shrine. Nobody in 1518 could tell you why the cross worked and the orchestra didn't. They just wrote down that it did and moved on. 500 years later, we still can't fully tell you either. The leading modern theory from historian John Waller isn't supernatural at all. A population already broken by famine and disease, primed by a real regional belief that St. Vitus could curse you with uncontrollable dancing, under enough collective stress to make that belief come true in the body, not faking it, not choosing it. A city's nervous system finding the one specific terrible way its own folklore told it a breakdown was allowed to look. Other historians point at ergot, a fungus that can grow on damp rye and cause convulsions, though it's a harder fit, since ergot poisoning doesn't usually leave you rhythmic, coordinated, and dancing for days at a stretch. Nobody living through it needed the explanation, they needed it to stop. And the closest thing to an answer arrived the same way it always seems to on this channel, after the wrong cure had already been tried and paid for and had already made things worse. That's the pattern. A body, or in this case a whole city, doing something nobody in charge can explain, the people trying to fix it making a confident, reasonable-sounding call that turns out to be exactly backwards, and the real answer showing up centuries later, too late to help anyone standing in that square in 1518. If that's a pattern you're into, that's basically the whole channel. Subscribe and go vote in this week's poll before the next one lands.